Hi everyone, Ado here. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny Sunday out here in Bray in County Wicklow. I've been off for a week, sick unfortunately. Um, had a bladder infection which wasn't good. Anyway, Ado here, part of the home service team in Crosscare, a former member of Carew, just finished in March. Former member of the Consultative Forum for Former Residents of Mother and Baby Homes and Adult Institutions, etc., etc. Today, I thought I'd talk about intergenerational trauma. It was just something I was thinking about recently. In one of my quieter moments, actually during the week when I was sick and I wasn't feeling well and was in bed, and was lying back having to think about intergenerational trauma, and I was thinking of what examples, how do you example it? Because in social care settings, it can be something that's simply looked over. Because we focus so much on the individual and the relationships with the individual and how we connect with the individual, and having trauma informed practice with the individual and then with the group, and then, having a trauma informed service, etc., etc. But intergenerational trauma is so important because that can be at the nub of a lot of issues, and it doesn't have to be anything kind of dramatic either. So if you bear with me for this few minutes, I'm going to give you a personal reflection on intergenerational trauma. I grew up, as a lot of you would know, I was adopted from St Patrick's Mother and Baby Home in 1965, and I was adopted into a lovely working class family in Bray, and my mum, who adopted me, grew up in a girls' home, a Protestant girls' home in Shangana, County Dublin. When her mother had her, of course, it was a no, and they were a Church of Ireland family. And her mother went to live in Canada, and she was left in a small private children's home in Shangana. And she left there when she was 16 and came to Bray and started her working life and met her dad, etc., etc. And she was the kindest, funniest, loveliest person you could ever meet. But there was a lot of things that she struggled with, and when you look back on our childhood, she was so kind and so lovely, and always wanted us to be having fun. And on a summer's day like today, she'd be out and she'd walk like miles and miles with us. There'd be some of the neighbours and all of the kids, and there'd be like 3 or 4 mammies and kind of 12 or 13, 14 kids. And we'd walk from our house on the Dargan Road in Bray all the way up to Enniskerry, to the gates of Paris Court and back home again, which was a phenomenal walk for kids. But when I look back at it now with my experience and trained eye, there were facets of life that she really struggled with. The facets of parenting that she really struggled with, that she just wasn't great. She wasn't a great disciplinarian. She wasn't great at correcting us. Her generalised kind of parenting and household skills were impacted by being brought up in an orphanage. There were telltales all the time. And I'm not saying it impacted or traumatised us in any way, but just when I reflect on my childhood, there are identifiers there that me being conscious of would help me down the years. And so we really need to look at, if a child comes from a very dysfunctional family, what was this dysfunction like for their parents? We can get a sense of some of that, and build an idea around intergenerational trauma, we might have a much better handle in supporting those families. So that's my thought for today. Intergenerational trauma is very, very important. I'll see you all next week.